Well, the Road Traffic Infringement Agency says the provisions of the principal AARTO Act are still enforceable until the Pretoria High Court ruling is confirmed by the Constitutional Court. Now, this follows the High Court judgment last week, which ruled in favour of the organisation undoing tax abuse, or OUTA, on the constitutionality of the principal administrative adjudication of the Road Traffic Offences Act. Now, the Act would have subsequently led to the enforcement of the Demerit System, meant to be rolled out later this year. Road Traffic Infringement Agency spokesperson Monde Mkalipi joins us now to discuss this further. Monde, good to have you. Thanks very much for joining us.
Good morning, Leanne, and good morning to the viewers of Morning Live. Thank you so much for the time.
It's a pleasure. So, all right, let's get into this. So, talk us through some of the AARTO Act provisions which the RTIA are referring to that are saying are still enforceable.
Thank you so much, Leanne. I think perhaps our point of departure should be to say the AARTO Act was designed as a national road safety intervention. And we have rightly pointed out in our introduction is that there was this judgment that came up on the 13th of January. And you will recall that the Minister of Transport also pronounced on the fact that there is going to be an appeal against the judgment. And also the RTIA Board of Directors also adopted a resolution to appeal the judgment. I think what we have been emphasizing from the side of the RTIA is that this legislation is designed to accord motorists a number of benefits. We'll recall that before the introduction of the AARTO Act, in the two jurisdictions where AARTO is operational, that is Joburg and Tshwane, we had what is called the Criminal Procedure Act. And what AARTO introduces are the elective options. The first AARTO elective options talks to the option or to the advantage to the road user that says, if you resolve your infringement within the first 32 days after receiving the infringement notice, you are entitled to a 50% discount. That is a non-negotiable. And again, if you feel that you have been unfairly issued with an infringement, you do have an option to submit a representation to dispute that that notification. So if you are able to compile all the necessary documents, let's say you happen to commit an infringement, and under certain circumstances, maybe you are rushing a child to hospital, and perhaps you have got all the necessary documentation to prove that indeed that infringement was committed under certain odd circumstances. You are able to submit that representation. And also thirdly, if, for example, you own a fleet of vehicles, it could be trucks, it could be ambulances, and you have employed a number of people, employees, you are able to, if perhaps they commit infringements while they are driving on the road using your vehicles, when the infringements are posted, they come to you as the owner of the vehicles. And then you are able to reroute those infringements to the people who were in control of the vehicle at the time the infringement was committed. So at the same time, yes, Leanne.
Monde, I just want to question you there, because this is where things get a little bit complicated. I mean, we don't receive those infringements anymore. I mean, if you look at if you're telling me that we're going to post these infringements, and I don't remember the last time I received an infringement. I honestly don't. But it was when I came to renew my license that obviously then I saw there were infringements against me. But other than that, we don't receive them. And that's the reality. I can tell you that from everybody that I speak to, they never receive infringements.
As I've indicated, Leanne, AARTO has been operational in two jurisdictions, that is Tshwane and Joburg. And the evidence that we have with us, because you are able to pick up from the system if the person, yes, indeed, received the infringement, the system is able to tell us. We do have quite a reliable system of ensuring that these infringements do receive or do get to arrive to the infringers. And if, for example, you do have evidence, if you do have evidence available to you to prove that, yes, you never received, and yet on our system, it says you received the infringement, and then you can still submit a representation to dispute, because that is not the end. If you feel that at some point the chain was broken, and you do have the evidence to substantiate that indeed you never received the infringement, you are free to provide that to us. We are going to weigh it up and then revert to you and indicate exactly what went wrong.
Monde, how do we receive them? I suppose let's start there. How do we physically receive them? It may say on your system that you've posted it, But how do you know that I've received it?
Well, in terms of the system, currently the legislation provides for two ways of serving documents. The first one is personal. That is, if you commit an infringement on the road, and then that is observed by an officer of law, and then you are provided with an infringement notice. And at the same time, if it also does get posted to you. But what we are also driving now, Leanne, as you have pointed out in your introduction, is the fact that after the judgment that was passed on the 13th of January, the appeal that we are making to road users is the fact that the system continues. AARTO continues up until the Constitutional Court confirms that judgment. So that is the message. We didn't want a situation right now where road users find themselves where they go and renew their driving licenses, where they go to renew their licenses, and they find themselves blocked. And when they get there, they are told that it's because of an AARTO infringement. And they are going to say, but in terms of the understanding, the information that went out to the public is that this act has been declared unconstitutional. We should be able to say to the road users, up until the Constitutional Court confirms that judgment, and it's only then that it will become effective.
Yeah. I mean, I understand when you say that, yes, you're given a fine there and then on the road at that time. Then I'm holding it in my hand. I've signed for it. I know I'm in the wrong. But when it is posted and the postal system is so unreliable and you have no idea if somebody, in fact, has received this or not, a system like this is just really it doesn't make sense. I mean, this is a very, very hard system to put into place, the Demerit System, when the ducks aren't aligned. That's the reality, is that there's so many things that have to be in line in order for this to work. And I understand you saying that there are, certain aspects that will still go into effect, but the reality is that it is not working. Surely you get it working and then you implement it.
I think, Leanne, I think the points that you are raising, they need to continue to debate about them, but we should not take our eye off the ball. The intention of this legislation is that we have said this is an intervention to curb fatalities that occur on the road. The system has been operational in the two jurisdictions, Tshwane and Joburg, which are mainly in Gauteng. And what we have been observed from the side of the Road Infringement Agency is that the system has been working. It has been able to play a key role in terms of reducing fatalities that occur on our road, because currently the main concern of South Africans is the ongoing increase in fatalities that occur on our roads. If in the end of 2019 and beginning of 2020, we're able to pick up statistics that was saying there has been a reduction of fatalities on our roads in the two jurisdictions, Tshwane and Joburg, then we should be saying the system is achieving its intended consequences or its intended purpose. So we should really not perhaps trying to walk ourselves onto some of the challenges. Yes, those challenges, we are going to define them as the time progresses, but the main obsession of the country at the moment, you can see even in the statistics that have just been released now, there is a problem. Yeah. There's a problem of infringements on our roads. There's a number of people who continue to drive recklessly on our roads. So the legislation, AARTO, is designed to make sure that we address that problem. Yeah. AARTO is designed to make sure that we introduce the points demerit system so that we're able to catch those habitual infringers. We bring them to book, we take them to rehabilitation, and the understanding that AARTO is designed to take people away from the road, that is also incorrect. Yeah. AARTO is designed to make sure that we're able to rehabilitate people. Yeah. They go back into our roads and they become better road users. That is what we want to do.
I think some would
really try. Okay. I don't think we should really try to bog ourselves into some of those challenges that are going to be addressed. Yeah. We do agree that the system, it is going to have teething problems, but let us work towards ensuring that we make it perfect at the end of the day.
All right, Monde, let me have a chance to speak. So when we look at some of the things that you've said, I mean, the drop in the death toll over the last few years and the infringements, but let's be real. There haven't been even close to the amount of motorists that are usually, ever since COVID struck. The reality is that half the people are working from home. There was a lockdown. People haven't been able to leave their homes. This has been a brand new way of life. So I don't think judge yourself over the last 2 years. I mean, that is just a reality. Let's bring that into the equation. And then secondly, you get a lot of organizations, something like the Automobile Association. You say that this is for the rehabilitation of drivers and to make sure that less road traffic infringements are made. However, what they are saying is that this is just a money-making scheme. Your response to that?
I think the statistics that I've quoted, Leanne, it is accurate. We can go back to the statistics that were released at the beginning of 2020 in terms of fatalities that occurred on our roads. COVID started in 2020. So we should really not, we can just go back and the decline that happened in Gauteng that was recorded at the beginning of 2020, it says 19%, 19% decrease in terms of fatalities that occurred in this province. And then secondly, in terms of the argument that is emerging from some of the adversaries, that is actually very much inaccurate in the sense that if you look at the chain of the AARTO process, how it is really intended to change the behavior of the road user, there's nowhere where we are picking up any a way of saying that we are a money-making organization. The intention of AARTO is to really change the behavior. Just summarize, for example, now, if an infringer gets to be caught on the roadside committed infringement, you are given all those options. If you fail to take advantage of those options, and then we are going to face what is called an enforcement order. You still fail to take advantage to submit representation to dispute an enforcement order. When the time the demerit points comes in, that is when the demerit points are going to begin to be effected in the system. So if it happens only when the person really fails to take advantage, the points demerit system, in the whole chain, it comes in quite very, very late. So we should really be very much clear about how the system is designed. That's why you are saying you are given the rights, you fail to take advantage of them, then the enforcement order comes in, and after that, you have demerit points. And then if you happen to accumulate about 12 or 15 demerit points, then your driving license gets to be suspended. First suspension, second suspension. After the third suspension, the state takes away the driving license. That is what the system is designed to do, that we remove the habitual infringers from our roads. People who are a problem,
right.
We know them in our
Monde,
communities.
we know? Okay, let me
not continue
time is of the essence. I just have to get a comment from you, and just a very quick one on this, because this has all now got to do with the infringements that you are saying. So in the ruling, the judge, Anali Basson, ruled in favour of OUTA, as we do know, and they agreeing that the legislation unlawfully intrudes upon the exclusive executive and legislative competence of the local and provincial government stated in the Constitution. So my question to you is, what are the grounds on which government is now appealing this case?
I think in the start of the discussion, Lena indicated that the Minister of Transport pronounced on the intention to appeal, as well as the Road Traffic Infringement Agency Board of Directors. The Board of Directors also received a full briefing from the Senior Council in terms of the way forward. That process is still underway. All that we can indicate at the moment that after receiving that full briefing, a resolution was adopted that the RTIA is going to appeal the judgment.
Okay.
That is
on what grounds? On
so
what
that is
grounds?
what we have. Well, there are a number of constitutional grounds that the agency looked at. But in terms of our heads of argument, it's a matter that is going to emerge in our submission that is going to be taken up as you are appealing the judgment.
All right. Leave it there. Let's leave it there. Monde, thank you for talking to us. We really do appreciate it. And we will get you back once we get a little bit more clarity on all of this. But this is not going away. Something that certainly looks like it's going to stay around for a while and be fought from each direction. RTIA spokesperson Monde Mkalipi talking to us and explaining government's decision to appeal. We're still waiting to hear the grounds of this appeal for the High Court's ruling in favour of OUTA on the AARTO Act, which the court found unconstitutional.